Hi all, welcome back. During the interview, we could expect some questions related to types of SQL statement. So let's see the different types of SQL statement. So based on the functionality the statements are providing, we could categorize the statement into 5. And the first bucket is DDL or data definition language statements. So DDL or data definition language statements are used to define the schema. Say we have a database and we want to define different objects, say how the table should look like or how the function or store procedure should look like. So by using DDL we could define the shape and structure of a database object. And the first command falls under DDL is create. Say we want to create a database, we will use create statement. If you want to create a table, we will use create statement. If you want to create view, store procedure, anything, we will use create statement. So by using create, we could create multiple tables inside a database and many other database object. The second command falls under DDL is alter. By using alter, we could alter the shape and structure of a database object. Say if you want to add more columns or if you want to remove few columns from the tables, we could use alter. So by using alter, we could alter the shape and structure of a database object. Similarly, there is option to rename. So rename command allow us to rename the database object. Say we have a table called table underscore 2, and if you want to rename the table into table underscore 0, we will use rename command. So by using rename, we could rename the database object name. Similarly, there is option to delete the database object. Say if you want to delete some database object, we will use drop command. So by using drop, we could drop the database object or delete the database objects. So by using drop, we could remove the database object from the database. And finally, we have a command called truncate. So truncate is a DDL statement. So it's look like a DML or data manipulation language statement, but actually it is a DDL statement. So assume we have a table called table underscore 3 and there is some value. By using truncate, we could remove the entire value from the tables. So even though it looked like a DML, data manipulation language statement, actually it is a truncate because of the functionality or the way it's executed is similar to DDL statement. Now let's see the second bucket called DML, data manipulation language statement. So if you are working with the data, there should be an option to save the data into the tables and update the data and remove the data. So these are the three operations we will perform with the data and we call data manipulation language statement. So there should be an option to save the data, which is called inserting the data into the table. So assume we have a table called table underscore 3. There should be an option to insert some value. Similarly, if you want to update the data, say you saved some data and you want to update the value, say you want to update the sales value of USA into 570, there should be an option to update the value. And once you update, the data should look like something similar to this. And finally, we should have an option to delete unwanted data from the database. Say you saved some data and you want to remove. If you want to remove UK value, you should have an option to delete the value. And these are the three data manipulation language statements supported by SQL statement. Now let's see other bucket. Say you want to use DQL. The third bucket is called DQL, data query language. So by using DQL means select statement. So we use DQL or data query language to retrieve the data which is saved in the database. And by using DQL, we could retrieve the data. And we already saw how the select statement is working. But there are many functionality select statement will provide. Say if you want to retrieve specific row or specific column, we have an option. Similarly, there should be an option to derive new value based on the existing value. Or if you want to apply some mathematical calculation, there should be an option. So select statement provide a wide variety of functionality, and in next module we will go in depth. We will go in depth of select statement, and there are many options are possible with the select statement, and in next module we will see all of them one by one. And there is one more bucket called TCL, which means data control language statement. So this kind of statement we will use to allow who can access which data. Say there are two statements is there. One is grant, another one is revoke. So by using these two statements, we could allow someone to access our data. Also, if someone is accessing and we want to revoke the access, we could use. So there are two statements or two comments are there. One is grant and another one is revoke. And final bucket is TCL, transaction control language statement. So there are some command falls under TCL, and the first one is commit. So you make some changes and you want to save, or we want to make it permanent changes, we will use commit statement. And this all are advanced section, so we will have a session at the end, or we will explain all these statements at the end of the course. Second one is rollback. We made some changes but we want to undo. We will use rollback. Rollback will go back to some previous state. Similarly, we have an option to save point. So we are going to execute some specific statement one by one, and we could have a save point 1, save point 2, save point 3, so that later we could go back to some specific point. So by using save point, we could go back to some specific point. Similarly, set transaction is there, which will define the specification of transaction. So these are the 4 statement falls under transaction control language statement. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.